Welcome back to Time Out with J and G. It's Jay over here. It's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
And today we are back. The NBA All-Star Weekend was this past weekend, and I think it's fair to say it was not great, huh?
It was worse than last year's.
Yeah. I think the games were definitely worse than last year. I think the dunk contest was actually kind of exciting for a little bit I've watched of it. But yeah. Anyway, before we get into that, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. I want to shout you out. You finally got back on the grind of YouTube and
Yep.
put out a few episodes of your Akron Dynasty series. So go check that out if you're into college football.
Hey, yo, shout out Paul Lewis III and shout out Alex Adams.
Shout him out. Yeah, I've been watching. I've been trying to get you into making YouTube content again for a while now, and you finally caved.
I did.
Put a couple episodes out.
I did.
So we always love to see that.
I hope everyone. Hope people go watch it and hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into basketball, usually you have the college football. Do you have anything college football related that you felt like talking about today?
The only thing that I've seen or really that's been on the radar is that the SEC I shouldn't say commissioner, but like the top guy in the SEC, you know what I mean? That kind of oversees everything. Greg Sankey, he is in favor of a 12 team playoff, but just straight, top 12 teams get in. I don't know that person in the Big Ten, but that the Big Ten is in favor of that too. Because I know there's been conversations we've had to talk about it to where do they go from here, because having the top four conference champions get a bye week just doesn't look good. You know what I mean? We all wanted to see like maybe the Boise State or Arizona State Cinderella story, but we all know wasn't really realistic with how college football is played. But at the end of the day, my opinion, they should do 12 teams. I still think the conference champs should get an automatic bid, but not, the automatic bye. I feel like the top four teams should get the automatic bye, whether they're the conference champions or not. So that's just my opinion, and that's what a little bit's been going on with college football.
All right, cool. I guess we might as well just jump into the NBA. Obviously, All-Star Weekend. There really hasn't been many games on recently, obviously, because the All-Star. But as we're recording this tonight, is the first game back. The Lakers and the Hornets play at 10 o'clock tonight Eastern Time. And then tomorrow, as you're watching this, the NBA is fully back with a full slate of games starting, I think, at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, going through the whole night. The NBA is back. I don't know, All-Star Weekend week, whatever, just kind of sucks because, I'm not really interested in the All-Star Weekend, so it's just we have a week without any good basketball. So I'm just kind of excited that we get sports back because obviously the NFL season's over, college football's over. So it's been a week of just not really being able to watch sports. So it's been, I'm looking forward to it. I guess we didn't really I don't know how much. Do we ever talk about the Mark Williams Dalton Connect trade getting rescinded?
No, because something happened last week and we couldn't.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't record last week. Just scheduling was we were busy and whatever. So the original trade of, I believe it was Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, and the 2031 first round pick from the Lakers was going to the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams. That happened on the day of the deadline, I believe, or the night before the deadline, something like that. And then it came out again, as you guys know, it's been out for 2 weeks now. The trade was rescinded because apparently Mark Williams failed his physical, and he just now showed back up to the Hornets. He just didn't go back to Charlotte for some reason. I don't know. But apparently he did go back, and he is ready to play tonight against the Lakers. So we'll see what kind of game Mark Williams has as a revenge game against the Lakers, even though he's the one that failed the physical. So I don't know. This was the first time in my memory that I've seen a trade get rescinded by the NBA or by I don't even know if the NBA rescinded as much as the Lakers were like, oh, we can't pass this, so we're pulling the trade back. And then apparently that the Hornets put in a bid to contest it, that apparently oh, well, we think he should pass. But then Adam Silver came out over the weekend and said they never put in that bid, or they never put in whatever it was. So it's just done. The trade just isn't going to happen now.
I'm just saying I wonder what's going through Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, and Mark Williams' head, where it's just they just tried to trade me. not gonna go back and act like everything is fine, but they just tried to like Mark Williams with the Hornets. This is gonna be his first game back, or his first appearance back with the team. Like I wonder what's going through his head because he's a young center. When he is healthy and can play, he's been pretty damn good. It's just like what is going through his head, where it's just like they tried to trade me. Like I'm literally almost the only center on the roster that's getting minutes because they already traded Nick Richards to the Suns. It's like, what are you guys doing? You know what I mean?
I think they had Diabate running center, and it's what they had. But I mean, especially because the Hornets have been kind of weird about this whole thing because they came out and said like, we're putting in this. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but they're like, we're putting into the NBA that like they should look at this because we think the trade should have went through. But then they came out and said, we had no plans on trading Mark Williams in the first place. The Lakers aggressively pursued Mark Williams, and the Lakers were like, no, apparently you guys came to us. The Lakers saying the Hornets came to them about it. So now it's a bunch of he said, she said, and I feel like it's just making it really weird for no reason. I mean, it was going to be weird no matter what because the trade got rescinded. Like everybody has to go back to their teams that just tried to trade him, like you said. But like now the Hornets coming out making multiple comments about it. Like you could have just said, like, oh, we're just happy to have him back. You know what I mean? Like you could have just said that. You didn't have to say. You didn't have to like put it on the Lakers as we didn't want to trade you, but the Lakers aggressive pursuit. That just feels weird because at the end of the day, the Hornets never had to accept the trade in the first place. If they really wanted to keep Mark Williams as much as they said they would want to, they didn't have to trade him. You know what I mean? So like I feel like they were just trying to like cover their own butts. But it wasn't really. I mean, the 2031 first round pick for the Hornets would have been cool for half from the Lakers, but like. Dalton Connect and Cam Reddish were like, I mean, Dalton Connect's going to be a fine rookie. He's probably going to be a fine role player. Cam Reddish hasn't really been good anywhere he's been. So it's like, it just felt like a weird trade. I never liked the trade from the start. Like, I think I came on here and said, I never was a big fan of the trade for either one of the teams. I felt like it was just kind of I guess the Lakers, they need a center. So it made sense to go out and get a center, but Mark Williams was never the center I thought the Lakers should have got because he just doesn't play basketball. He's played about a season's worth of basketball in 3 years that he's been in the league. And defensively, he's just not very good. So it's like, I just didn't really see the point of having him there. But I don't know. I'm kind of happy the trade got rescinded, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, from your perspective, I can totally understand it. I mean, but also it's kind of just like, you already have LaMelo, you have Brandon Miller, you have Bridges. Mm-hmm. Why bring on another wing? Mm-hmm. Like, I understand, like, Dalton Connect, you could bring him off the bench. You could maybe shift some people around, or if you're planning on trading Bridges at some point and then putting Connect into the starting lineup. But even then, I'm not a fan of, like, LaMelo, Connect, and Miller, all three starting together at the 1, 2, and the 3. I don't know if I'm a real big fan of that. But it's like, at that point, then you're kind of put the writing on the wall to where you're getting rid of Miller or Bridges. And at that point, you're getting rid of Bridges because you're not trading Miller.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I mean, obviously, Brandon Miller's out for the rest of the year. Trent Mann's out for the rest of the year. So they have a lot of their wings that are not playing for the rest of the season. T-John's still on their first round pick this year. Just hasn't been very good. He's just not been a good rookie. So it's like Dalton Connect definitely would have got a lot of minutes this season. This season for sure would have got a lot of minutes in the place of that. But yeah, when Brandon Miller comes back next year, you just paid Miles Bridges. You're hoping Trent Mann comes back and is as good as he was to start this season. And it's like, yeah, what do you do with the Dalton Connect? Or what do you do with? You probably just let Cam Reddish walk because what point do you have for him on the team? He just hasn't been very good in his career. Yeah. So it's like you said, you start LaMelo Ball, Trey Mann, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, now Mark Williams. But like even if Mark Williams wasn't there, you had a gaping hole at the center spot especially because like you said, you traded Nick Richards. So I don't know, like Dalton Connect also makes more sense as a rookie on the Lakers than he does for the Hornets. Like, you look at these teams, and you look at these teams that are in win-now modes, like the Lakers, are going to try to usually get the older 3-4 year guys coming out of college that are kind of more ready to play right now in the NBA and just be their role. And like you saw earlier in the season, Dalton Connect was on fire for like a couple weeks, like coming into the start of the season. You know what I mean? You don't really see those 23-year-old rookies go to a team like the Charlotte Hornets that are bad, because they want as much potential. And you're gonna draft a 19-year-old with potential over a 23-year-old that was in college for 4 years. Just if you're a bad team, you know what I mean? Because you're trying to get those young talents. Now, do I think the Charlotte Hornets could probably use some older rookies that'll help establish them? I do. I just don't know if Dalton Connect was that guy for that team because, like I said, they already have a lot of wings they're trying to figure out what to do with. And like I said, you just used the first round pick on Tijon Salon this year, and he's just not very good. So it's like adding in another young wing is just going to make it weirder. They're definitely not trading Brandon Miller. I mean, LaMelo Ball, there's been real talks LaMelo Ball could get moved, but Dalton Connect doesn't fill any type of hole that you would lose with LaMelo Ball. So it's just, I think the only reason the Hornets did it was for the 2031 Lakers pick. But at that point in time, like the 2031 Lakers pick early in the season was like super sought after because it's like LeBron's gonna be gone, Anthony Davis is probably gonna be gone. Like the Lakers could be very, very bad in 2031. Well, now they have Luka Doncic, so like there's a good chance that that pick is gonna be still pretty, like it's gonna be in the 20s most likely. You know what I mean? So it's like I think that pick lost a lot of value once they traded for Luka, but I was looking for more like a Robert Williams type of guy, a Nicholas Claxton type of guy. I know Robert Williams isn't exactly the pinnacle of staying healthy, but he's been healthy this year and he's been good this year. And I was actually genuinely really, really surprised that Robert Williams did not get traded at all. Like I thought for sure he was going to be gone. So again, I'm pretty happy to trade get rescinded. I think in the offseason they could definitely try to get a better package than a Mark Williams, but I don't know. Jackson Hayes has looked pretty good in a couple games of Luka because that's just what Luka does. Luka makes all the centers look really good. He had Derek Lively look like the best rookie in the league as a center last. You know what I mean? Like that's what Luka does. So
and also like just on Dalton Connect, I feel like he was, even though I hate the Lakers, we all know
enough.
this.
Yeah, fuck Boston.
Fuck the Lakers. I'm gonna be honest, that with where he was taken and all the teams in front of him, I think the Lakers were arguably the best fit for him, or the best team for him to go to, respectfully, of course. But like that was
disrespectfully.
Respectfully. No, but like I feel like for him and what he does, that was the perfect team for him to go to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I agree.
Yeah, and people saying, "Oh, well, I can't believe other teams didn't draft him, this and that." I mean, would you rather take, as like you're saying, as the Hornets, a 19-year-old that you can kind of mold or you can kind of see how he progresses, or a 24-year-old that's kind of like, okay, well, this is what you're getting.
Yeah, he might get a little bit better, but you don't. He has Don't Connect has definitely like the higher floor but lower ceiling compared to like a 19-year-old where it might have a super low floor but also could have a really, really high ceiling.
Yeah, there's benefits, there's cons and benefits to both of it, but I do think obviously I wanted him to go to Boston. I wanted Boston to trade up, but realistically they weren't going to do that. But all things said, I think Dalton Connect found his spot on the Lakers, and I think this was a perfect fit for him.
I agree. It was kind of weird. Like he talked with JJ Redick and took some time after the trade, got rescinded to just not play and I guess figure out his mind. Which I mean, again, I think we talked about. Like I understand to a degree. I don't want to say it was weird because I guess like you were just got told you're going to trade to Charlotte. Now it's not going to happen. But like I don't know. Like I feel like if I was Don't Connect, I'd be like, shit, thank God. Like I get to stay in LA. You know what I mean?
I get to play with Luka and
if I was Don't
LeBron.
Connect, I feel like I'd be ready to get back out on the court and play with them, not want to take a couple of games. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It does.
I guess it was just kind
of it.
I feel, and again, I know there's a whole human side to it where it's like his life got thrown upside down for a day, and then now he's gonna go. Now it's like, oh, that's actually not happening. But I just feel like Dalton Connect was on the better side of it. Like it's not like he's Mark Williams who's like, oh shit, I get to go play with Luka and LeBron in LA. Oh, now I had to go back to Charlotte. You know what I mean? Like Mark Williams, I can understand being like, damn, no. But I feel like if I'm Don't Connect, I'm like praying. I'm like, thank God. And you know what I mean? Like I guess I'm just like, I think it's just him being on the Lakers side of it. I feel like he should have been. I don't want to say should have been because obviously we don't know his feelings. But like, I think it's easier to come back and play with the Lakers than it would be for like Mark Williams to go back and play with the Hornets.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I kind of look at it to where it's just like, Dalton Connect, 23, 24 years old, gets drafted to L.A., big market in L.A., and he's vibing with it, he's getting through the season, learning and everything, and the next thing you know, it's kind of just like, hey, you're traded to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just like, whoa. Just like that? Really? Just like that? And the next thing is kind of like, oh, well, no, now you're staying. It's kind of just like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like it was a whirlwind of emotions for him probably, and especially if he I don't know if he bought a house in LA or what's going on, or I don't know, but it's crazy. It's because I think this is like the first trade that I've seen personally get rescinded like this.
Yeah.
Because I know the trade that way back when Chris Paul was going to be traded to the Lakers, that David Stern stepped in and said no.
Yeah, the veto.
Yes. But like this is the first time I've ever seen like a trade rescinded because someone couldn't pass a physical.
Yeah, this is the first time it's like, oh, it went through. Oh, actually, never mind. You know what I mean? But while you were kind of talking there, I pulled up because you mentioned before about how Dalton Knecht was drafted 17 by the Lakers, like the teams ahead of him who might have looked to draft. So at 17, the Lakers took Dalton Knecht. At 16, the 76ers took Jared McCain. I think they're pretty happy with that pick. Obviously, he got hurt, but I think they're overall happy with the Jared McCain pick. 15, the Heat drafted Khalil Ware, who's been really, really good before the All-Star break. So I think they're pretty happy with that. The Trailblazers draft Bub Carrington. Oh, then he gets traded to the Wizards, obviously, so whatever. The Kings draft Devin Carter, the point guard. I think he could have been pretty good on the Kings. They desperately need shooting.
Yeah.
And like 3-point shooting. He would definitely have helped with that. But I guess at this point in time, Devin Carter's really the only point guard they have on the roster. Well, nope, they signed Markelle Fultz. So, but like the Thunder drafted Nikola Topic at 12. Obviously, he's not going to play at all this season with his injury. I don't know if he would have found minutes on the Thunder. I think he would have fit well, but I don't know if he ever would have found minutes. And then now we're starting to get to the top 10. So,
And like we talked about, I think the episode after the draft, I think Topic going to the Thunder was like the best fit for him and for the Thunder because they didn't have to worry about trying to play him this year. Just rehab it, get better, and then we'll figure it out next year because who knows what OKC is going to look like next year.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, and then you look after the Lakers. At 18, the Magic draft Tristan da Silva. I think they would have loved to have Dalton Knecht. The Raptors draft Jacoby Walter. Same thing. Cavs, Jalen Tyson, who's been pretty good. Like, I think the biggest one is the Suns at 22. They draft Day'Ron Holmes and obviously trade him to the Nuggets. But then they later get Ryan Dunn from the Nuggets in that draft night trade. Ryan Dunn's been pretty good for them this year as a rookie, but he's definitely a more of a defensive-minded wing. Doesn't have the shooting ability that Dalton Knecht does, and we all know if there's anything these Suns need right now, it's defense and shooting. So, yeah, I think the Suns is the other team that it's like I think he could have fit in pretty well with, but yeah, I think the Lakers was definitely the best area for him to go.
Yeah, 100%. I was sitting there on draft day, and I'm just like, okay, Dalton's gonna go top 10. You know what I mean? And then it kept going, and then it kept going. I'm just like, okay, where's he gonna land? And the Kings went Devin Carter. And it was going, I'm like, the Lakers are up. I'm just like, I was in the truck with my dad. I'm just like, he's going to the Lakers. There's no other person I can think of that the Lakers would take other than Bronny. But I knew Bronny wasn't going to go first round. I knew he wasn't going first round. So it was kind of just like, okay, Knecht's going to be a Laker. But you know what? Hey,
I'm happy he was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him too. He's finding his mold. He's finding his place. And now he's playing with Luka, Doncic, and LeBron. So,
I would say, if there's any two players in the league that can help, bring the best out of somebody, it's Luka and LeBron, other than obviously Jokic. So, this is definitely a spot that if he can really find himself in a spot, again, it's going to be about his shooting. Like now we desperately, especially now that Max Christie is gone, we desperately need another wing shooter. And if Dalton Knecht can kind of get back into the rhythm he had earlier in the season, he's going to command a lot of minutes.
And I mean, like I said, I'm a Tennessee Vols fan. During the college season, LeBron was like, "Yo, look at Knecht." You know what I mean? He was tweeting at him through the season. It was kind of cool to see. But shout out Dalton Knecht and shout out the Lakers. Got Luka. Yeah. I mean, Jackson Hayes is your center, so there's that. But you know what? It's looking up from here.
I agree. Now, actually, because it's been a while, before we jump into the All-Star talk. Before we jump into the All-Star talk, let's hear a word from our partner. I am proud to announce we are partnered with Dubby Energy Drink.
Dubby was formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash, all while tasting amazing.
If you go to the link in the description, it will take you to our sponsored flavor, Push and Punch.
Use code TIMEOUTJG, that is TIMEOUTJG, at checkout for 10% off your order.
Thank you to Dubby Energy for partnering with us, and back to the episode. Now that we've heard a word, let's get into the All-Star. So, All-Star Weekend was something I made a whole video about on my channel, where I kind of just went off on things about it for a little bit. And I said, you know what? I think this weekend had redeeming qualities, but the All-Star Games is where it definitely fell flat on his face. Friday night, the celebrity game. I don't really give a shit about the celebrity game. It's cool, whatever. Shout out to guys' numbers on the board. They did their stream with the celebrities beforehand. They got to talk to like Drewski and a couple different people. Jerry Rice pulled up. So I mean, shout out to them for that. Didn't really give a shit about the All-Star or the celebrity game. Did you watch any of that?
No, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Then we get to Saturday night. You get the skills challenge. Didn't really tune into that much. I think the Cavs won. Mobley and Garland, I think.
I know for sure Victor Wembanyama and Chris Paul got disqualified from it.
That's where I was going to next. So the clip of probably the only redeeming part of the skills challenge was watching Vic run and just kind of chuck all the balls off the rack to get through it quickly because, if there's anybody that's good at bending the rules in his favor, it's Chris Paul. So I guess he got in Vic's ear about it. It was like, hey, what if we gave this a try? And obviously they were disqualified. But apparently afterwards they said that they asked beforehand and it was approved that they could do it. So I don't really know. I don't know if the NBA execs were just like, yeah, whatever. I don't think they really gave a shit enough to be like, no, you can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the 3-point contest, Tyler Hero wins the 3-point contest. Shout out Tyler Hero. Buddy Hield had 31 in the first round. Damian Lillard was yawning on the sideline and then lost. So that was the 3-point contest is cool. I mean, I think it's always gonna be pretty decently exciting for what it is, especially with a lot of the good shoot. Because like the one thing about the 3-point contest is that you usually do get the better players in it. Like the dunk contest, you're like trying to figure out, but like the 3-point shootout, you had Buddy Hield, you had Damian Lillard, you have Tyler Hero, you had Cade Cunningham. Like you have a lot of like actually good NBA players that are in this 3-point shootout, and I mean, Jalen Brunson was in it. Cade Cunningham were in it, who like they're not really great spot up shooters, so I was kind of surprised they were there over some other people. But whatever. Did you tune into the 3-point contest?
Not really. 3-point contest is not my cup of tea, but I do believe Cam Johnson was in it. Norman Powell was in it. If you didn't say them,
yeah.
But
So
yeah, I didn't really watch it, but me personally, I think we should have it. One shooting big man in there to spice things up a little bit, like a Chris Kristaps Porzingis
didn't
Karl
Cat
Anthony
win it
Towns.
the other year?
Cat might have won it the other year. I know Cat was in it last year. I think there was two bigs in it last year, but I think there should be an honorary big in there every year.
Yeah, and then obviously the news broke like a couple days before that the Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry shootout was not going to happen like it did last year, which I think was a bummer because I thought that was pretty fun last year. And then the NBA said that apparently it was just like scheduling conflicts they just couldn't figure out. Which is is Sabrina in the Unrivaled League? Is that maybe why she couldn't do it?
I don't know.
Sabrina Ionescu. I'm just trying to figure out why. Like, I don't think it ever really said why she wasn't in the shootout. I don't know. I have no idea. Unrivaled. Sabrina Ionescu, Unrivaled.
Yeah, she is.
Not 100%, but cleared to play in Unrivaled. Oh, she had surgery last month to repair a torn UCL in her right thumb. But that was in December she had her surgery. So I guess she's just kind of ramping back up and didn't feel like doing that. I guess makes sense. But it still was a bummer they couldn't figure out anybody else to do it. Like, obviously, like, Caitlin Clark was the big one. But they couldn't find anybody else to step in and do a shootout. It was kind of disappointing.
It was. It really was because, like we talked about last year when it happened, that was one of the, like, redeeming qualities of it. You know what I mean? That actually popped down and was like, hey, this is actually fun now. This is fun to watch. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I just wish they could have figured something out. Get another like really good shooter like Caitlin Clark and see if she'll you can get her to do it or someone else to do it or next year I'm hoping they can get like a 2-on-2 type deal for the 3-point contest. Something that vamps it up a little bit more. But usually something like this is pretty good.
I remember a couple years ago they had the Draymond Green versus Kevin Hart shootout.
That was funny.
What if they could do I promise this is no disrespect. I'm being genuine here. They could do like a Draymond Green versus Angel Reese shootout. Or like something like they could get WNBA. And I know how it sounds. It's literally not a joke. I'm not even joking around. I know how it's going to sound. But like get WNBA players that like aren't good shooters and like let's do it. Like, you know what I mean? Just get WNBA players involved either way.
Yeah.
You know, like, obviously, I know it sounds funny, but I'm being serious. Like, it's not a shot at Angel Reese. I promise it is not. Like, it's. I just think it would be cool and be fun for people to be like, oh, this is like, obviously Sabrina was in it last year, and then you get an Angel Reese. Like, you get these young, good WNBA players. Like, I'm sure, and then obviously, like in another year or two, when Juju Watkins comes out, I'm sure she could be in something like that. You know what I mean? Just like,
yeah,
I think involving the WNBA is fun to do. Like, I think it just helps bring awareness to the league because obviously the past year or two, the WNBA has definitely had a crazy upward tick in fans and recognitions and stuff like that. But I think the most exciting part of Saturday night ended up being the dunk contest, and that's the first time we've said that in a while. It's been a couple years since the dunk contest was fun, and it was really between two players, Stephon Castle and Mac McClung, because Modest Buzelis and Andre Jackson Jr. didn't really have very good nights, didn't have very good showings, but, you know, it's cool. It happens. Mac McClung, first round, he said, I ain't waiting until the last round. I'm walking out here first round, and I'm jumping over a car. And not Blake Griffin over the hood.
He jumped
over the damn car.
Yes, sir.
Over the car.
Yes, sir.
And, I mean, I said in my video, I think that won him the contest right then and there. I think, because if I'm being honest, I think Stephon Castle won round 2 and 3, in my opinion. But I think Mac McClung jumping over that car first round, I think it sealed it right away. Like, I think as long as Mac McClung completed good enough dunks round 2 and 3, there was no way he was losing. And, you know what I mean? Like, I just think
I got you.
He just won it because Stephon Castle had a hell of a showing. I think I even said in my video, I think in multiple years in the past, I think Stephon Castle would have won it too because he had some hell of a dunks. But man, Mac McClung three-peat. I kind of have my opinions on the way the Magic are treating Mac McClung. They're kind of treating him like a one-trick pony where it's like, hey, it's the All-Star. You're on the main roster. Go dunk for us. Oh, we're done. Go back down to the G League. It's like, all right. You know what I mean? Like, he played in one game earlier this season. Like, I don't know. I don't blame Mac McClung for any of that. Like, this is nothing to do with Mac McClung. But it's just kind of like, I do feel like it's kind of a shitty. They're just like, oh, let's pull up this G Leaguer because he's really good at dunking. And then let's just send him back down to the G League. It's like, all right, well, you know.
That is quite shitty. I mean, that don't really give him a chance. And then it's kind of like, hey, you know, go dunk for us.
Yeah, go dunk and represent the Magic.
Yeah, I don't understand it. But also, there is a chance that next year's dunk contest is returning champ Mac McClung, Ja Morant, Aaron Gordon, and possibly, I haven't really seen a lot on it, possibly Zach LaVine.
I saw the tweets. I saw them tweeting each other.
Yep.
That shit's not happening.
You don't think
you
so?
know that as much as as I am. Bro, there's been 3 different years Bron said during the dunk contest, man, this is crazy. I'm going to sign up next year. His ass never signed up. It's been years. It's been multiple years players that have tweeted each other during the dunk contest that maybe we do it next year, and they never do it. They're not doing it.
You never know.
I think the Jaylen Brown performance last year turned a lot of stars off of being in the dunk contest.
Yeah, that was quite.
and he got flamed for it.
Yes.
So I think most stars are kind of like, yeah, we're not doing that shit.
But I mean, we've seen Aaron Gordon before. We know he can come up with some crazy dunks. Now,
that was 10 years ago.
Hey, he can. I truly believe he can still do it.
Aaron Gordon don't have the knees for it anymore, man. Have
How
you
do
watched
you
him
know?
try to dunk in game?
How do you
he
know?
don't got the knees for it. I watched him play basketball.
One weekend. Hey, he's got to be like he's 22 for one weekend.
Bro's gonna get the LeBron juice before All-Star Weekend to get back in there.
Yes, sir.
I get it. Their names are still crazy, but Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon at this point in time, watching them both play in games, I just don't think they would want to do it. I don't think their bodies would love it.
They one time, just one more time.
They need 3.
One more weekend. One more slam dunk contest. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think watching Ja would be fun, but he came out and said earlier in the season he was done dunking because it hurts his hands, and then the very next game he did like a reverse dunk. So I don't know. I don't know. Ja Morant, we might be having some uncomfortable conversations about him soon because is he the best player in the Grizzlies anymore? I don't know. Anyway, We might be having some conversations about a certain power forward on that team.
No, center and Zach Edey.
Yeah, right. That game sucks. But yeah. So I mean, like, I think Saturday was fine. Like, I said this in my video. Like, I come into the All-Star Weekend knowing it's probably not going to be good, but I have an open mind of hoping it's going to be good. Because if it is good, then I'm like, hell yeah, like that was, you know what I mean? That was fun. Where I think a lot of people go into the weekend thinking it's going to be bad, but then they also give it no chance to be good. It's like no matter what happens, like, oh, that kind of sucked. Like, they're going to find something wrong with everything. So that's kind of annoying. And I feel like I said in my video that, like, this All-Star Weekend was kind of a disappointment, but I don't know how much of it this year I blame on the players as much as I blame on, like, the fans and the internet of just, like, not letting anything happen. I also blame Adam Silver for part of the way this shit was set up. The team shit, I don't like. I think it's kind of dumb. I don't like that we're playing 4 different games and then the score is only to 40. I think that's a dumb rule. They have their teams. You have the 3 All-Star teams and then the Rising Star teams. They play in 2 games, the semifinals, and then the winners meet in the actual All-Star game. And if the semifinal games they want to play to 40, I don't have a problem with that. But then to have the actual All-Star game only be played to 40 as well, I just feel like we can't. The days of the All-Star game MVP dropping 50 is gone because you literally just can't drop 50 anymore. You know what I mean?
40.
Like, it's just,
you can drop 40 too.
Yeah, I guess, but like it just, I don't like it. Again, it's the first year of the teams, and maybe they'll refine it next year. Like, I don't think they're going to scrap it year one. I think they're going to try to give another year or two. Like, oh, let's change this up a little bit. Let's change this up a little bit, and then we'll see if it really is working. Like the play-in, it took them like 2 or 3 seasons to really get the play-in perfect. And I think the play-in's actually really good. I think the play-in was a successful like change, and same with the in-season tournament. I think the in-season tournament at the end of the day, it just adds some excitement to the beginning of the season. So maybe I have some hope they could do it with the All-Star game, but it's just like I said in my video back in 2020 in Chicago, the All-Star, that was one. It had like that crazy finish because there was a target score. They had to get to a target score, and because that was also like a month after Kobe died, so everybody was like super like honed in on basketball. And I think the elimination ending is a good idea. Now, obviously, they did it this year with 40, but obviously, I just think 40 too low. I think the actual All-Star game should be 2 10-minute halves. You play 10 minutes, you do your little halftime festivities with fucking Damian Lillard shooting against that guy with Mr. Beast there. I don't know what the hell that was all about. I have some more stuff about that later. You do that shit, you do another 10-minute half, and say, like, I think I used in my video, like, the score is 72-68 at the end of that second 10-minute half. The target score is 90. Who gets the 91st wins the game. So that way you're making sure you're getting your time of the game being played, and then you put a target score to not both teams have to try to get to that target score. That's what I would do, at least for the actual game. The first 2 games, again, I don't really give a shit about. If they want to keep those to 40, that way they can get them done and over with. I don't have a problem with that. But I think the actual All-Star game needs to be longer than a 40-point game.
Yeah, 100%. But also the one thing I do want to say, because there's some people commenting about the fact that there's a Rising Stars team playing against the All-Stars team. The Rising Stars team against that All-Star team scored the most points from a losing team in those 3 games. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Team Kenny scored 32. Team Chuck in the finals scored 25. Team Kansas, which was the Rising Stars, scored 35. You're telling me that those Rising Stars didn't belong here when they scored 35 when Team Chuck couldn't even get to 30?
I do think part of it was just that those players wanted to be there more than the All-Stars did. I think those Rising Stars saw it as a chance to go out there on the stage and play. And at the end of the day, they just weren't good enough to beat the OGs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think they actually wanted to play more than the older guys did.
Exactly, and that's something that we need is guys that want to play in the All-Star game because, let's be honest, now the All-Star weekend for like the All-Star game for the past like 2 years, 3 years has just been a freaking joke, man. I mean, like, there was at least some level of competitiveness. Now, I've seen people come out and be like, oh, well, it's East versus West. You know, go back to the East versus West. Winner gets home court advantage in the finals, and like the top 4 seeds, get players in there. I just don't understand. I don't like that because then you're taking the team aspect. Like let's just say the Cavs face the the Lakers in the NBA Finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the West won the All-Star game, so now the Lakers have home court advantage. When the Lakers, let's just say, were a 5 seed, and
Yep.
the Cavs were a
are the
2
1
seed,
seed.
1 or 2
Yeah,
seed.
1 or 2 seed. Yep.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I just don't see that working. Even if you only take the top 4, it's not. I shouldn't say it's a stupid idea, but it's not a good idea.
I think it's fair to say it's a stupid idea.
Okay.
I don't think we have to be that. I think at this point in time we have to be able to look at the NBA and say that's a stupid idea because there's, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's what it is. At the end of the day, I don't know if there's anything they could do that's going to fix the All-Star game. I think at this point in time, and I just don't think the players care enough to like, you know what I mean? Like, and I also understand, like, these guys, they play their 50-some games. They have they now have to go to a city and do a bunch of games in front of fans and then play the rest of the season. Like, a lot of them want to go on vacation for a couple of days with their family to kind of get away and relax and take a break in the middle of the season. I get it. I can't sit here and tell you that I would be playing super hard in your All-Star game if I was an NBA All-Star. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I'm looking at all my teammates are in fucking Florida, Turks and Caicos. They're all in these, nice-ass countries on the beach. And I'm in San Francisco fucking listening to Kevin Hart shit talk me on the report. You know what I mean? I'm like, what am I doing here, man? What am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I just think at the end of the day, you have to understand these players want to relax during the middle of the season.
They do, but like this is like, let's be honest, the one time of the year to where this is centered around the fans.
Yes,
you know what I mean, and that's why that's a big thing. I shouldn't say get rid of the All-Star game because I think it's something that could be there. I think make it like, all the U.S. versus the world. Do something in that aspect of it to where it's kind of like, okay, well, it's like U.S. versus the world. You know what I mean? Like you take all the best players that are European or from outside the U.S. against players born in the U.S. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do it that way.
I also like you make, and I completely agree. The All-Star Weekend is for the fans. It's a chance for the fans, and that's why, like, as kind of cringy as it was with Mr. Beast hosting, I liked the shootout of Damian Lillard versus the fan that ended up winning the 100K because, I mean, you could tell Damian Lillard was taking a sweet-ass time to make that third shot. Like, he was doing whatever he could to let that guy make the basket. You know what I mean? Because it just makes sense. And then a bunch of the players ran around the guy and were celebrating with all the money. Like, that's what the NBA All-Star Weekend is about. That's why I wouldn't be super opposed to the idea of, say, fuck the All-Star game. Let's just do a bunch of events that gets the fans on the court. Let's have the fans play, do one of these games, like a shootout with Damian Lillard. Or let's have a fan do this. Let's have a team of a player and a fan versus another player and a fan on a skills challenge. Let's get these fans involved with NBA players. Because one, it'll get those dumbasses on Twitter to shut up saying, oh, I could beat this guy. No, you can't. These NBA players are a million times better than you ever are. Yeah. And now you can see firsthand these guys. Yeah, you get to see. But, like, I also think it'd be more fun for the NBA players, too, because it's like, I'm on the court with these people, like, that watch me, that support me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say they're going to love it. Like, obviously, they're probably still going to be annoyed that they're there. But I think it'd be more fun for them to have fans interacting with them on the court doing these challenges versus you know what I mean? Like, I think that would be more fun. And if they still want to have the All-Star game at the end of the weekend, whatever. But forget the two prior games. Like, have Sunday. Like, Saturday can be the skills challenge. Saturday can be the dunk contest and three-point contest. And then Sunday, it's like the fan dunk contest. Well, not dunk contest, because fans aren't dunking.
I was going to say, you find, like, guys that went like D2, D3 or division college athletes that can dunk that didn't get their chance at the next level, or they went overseas and it didn't work out, but they can bounce, you know what I mean? They have some athleticism to them. Let them go out there and dunk, Give or like first place, like $50,000 or something like that. Give second place, this amount of money, and it's kind of like, oh shit, here walks out this, 6'6", this random 6'6" guy who played D1 basketball at, frickin' Kansas State, and he's jumping and doing some like windmill between the leg type shit. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, or like just like have like a fan 3-point contest, a fan skills challenge, like kind of do similar events that the players are doing, but let the fans get involved in it. Because I think it brings more interaction. And like obviously then you don't have to have money on the line for every one of them, but then like have the 3-point shootout, like have the shooting contest between Damian Lillard and the fan, or Steph Curry and a fan. Like just pick certain things. It's like, okay, we have 2 or 3 events that win money. The other events are just like we'll give you merch, we'll give you prizes for being in it. It just might not be $100,000 like that guy got.
Yeah.
But like make sure they're leaving with whatever their favorite team is. Give them a couple like $100 in store credit for like to buy merch. Like give them T-shirts for All-Star Weekend, stuff like that. Just stuff like that. Be like, oh, I actually got something for being out here. Plus, I get to say I was on a court at All-Star Weekend. You know what I mean? That's insane. Like I just think doing stuff that involves a fan is always because like anytime you see a fan do something on a court, all the players are hype as hell. Is it real hype or are they just kind of faking it? I don't know. They might be. But like I said, when that guy hit that shot, like Dame and all the All-Stars, they jumped around. Were like they're picking up the money out of the container. They were throwing it around. Everyone was like excited. And it's like I feel like the more moments you get like that, the better it would be just to like watch. But obviously, just maybe not have Mr. Beast do it every time because it's
yeah. But no, that you saying that reminds me of when LeBron was in Miami and that guy hit that half court shot and LeBron basically like, bear hugged him to the ground.
Bro, you know how much of a fan I would be of any player. It could be somebody like there's not really any NBA players I hate anymore. I've kind of like got to the point where I don't hate anybody anymore. But there's like players I don't really care for, like a Joel Embiid. Like I don't really care for the guy. I'm not a fan of his, but like. Bro, if I made one of those shots and Joel Embiid came and hugged me and picked me up, bro, I'd be a fan. I'd be like, oh, hell yeah. Like, fuck, yeah, this guy's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, that's a great way of, like, turning opinions of players by letting fans get on the court. And you know what I mean? Like, obviously not to everyone. People are still going to hate him. But, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would be so much more fun to involve the fans. Obviously, you probably have the safety risks of bringing these random-ass people onto the court. So you have to, I guess, figure that out. But still, I just think that would be a better way for them to go.
You can make him sign a waiver, like... Any like injuries or anything like that happen while you're on the court, the NBA or X, Y, and Z are not liable for any injuries that may or may not occur.
Yeah,
something like basically like something like that, where it's just like, hey, you can come do this, but if you get injured, we're not liable for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I just again, I think also you got to look. It falls on the players' shoulders to just at least try to care more for the fans. Like, I do think there's also just a lack of care from the players still. But I think there was a lot of outside factors. I mean, Adam Silver came out and said, he told the players that we need to take this All-Star more seriously. Right? But then you get to the All-Star weekend and you have Draymond Green on the TNT set with like Charles and Kenny and Ernie and all them guys. And for the entire hour leading up to the game, he's just shit talking about how this is going to be bad. It's going to suck. Nobody's looking for it. It's like, okay, well, that's not a good start. And then, like, back when Adam Silver announced the new format a couple months ago, because he's like, I got with Steph Curry, because obviously the All-Star game was in San Fran, so he was like, I went to Curry about what we can do for this All-Star game. They announced it, and then LeBron and Kevin Durant came out right away and said, well, it's kind of a trash idea. Okay, that's gonna hurt the PR of it a little bit. And then he said, then you get Draymond Green trash talking it. Then you get there, and Kevin Hart's out there on the court with them. And Kevin Hart, I'm a fan of Kevin Hart. I think he's a really funny dude. He had a bad performance. I don't think he was very, very good. I don't know if it was just he couldn't, like, I don't know if the NBA had restrictions on what he could say. TNT had restrictions on some of the stuff he could say. And, like, or he just didn't really riff well off of Shaq in them there. But for being a funny guy, I don't think Kevin Hart was very funny on Saturday night, or, like, for the All-Star weekend. Then you get out there, and you have Mr. Beast out there. It's like Adam Silver's telling these players we have to be more serious. And then he's making the rest of it a fucking joke. So it's like, what are we doing? Like, do you want it to be a joke or do you want it to be serious?
I don't know. I think the whole thing with like Ernie, Shaq, Kenny, and Charles, I think that whole thing
they fell off.
That whole thing's coming to an end. I mean, like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
This is their last year to do it. Like, basically, why are we gonna like really try? This is the last year. They're not picking this up next year. It's pretty much done for. Let's just get through this year. Let's get paid, and let's just move on with our lives. Because let's be honest,
it just sucks that that's their mindset on it.
I know it does suck, but like Kenny and Shaq could probably just Shaq and Charles. I don't know about Kenny or Ernie, but Shaq and Charles at least they could probably just retire and not have to worry about a damn thing for the rest of their lives.
Because I mean, Kenny's within the NBA for a year. I'm sure he's fine too.
Yeah, it's just like they could probably just be like, you know what, we're done. Like we're done with everything.
Yeah. I don't know. I was a fan of those guys for a while, but the past couple years, I feel like it's been super, super negative on that set. Like, I feel like every time I listen to the TNT, they're always between Charles Barkley and Shaq, or just shit talking to players nowadays, how the game sucks now. I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to get on these broadcasts and hear you constantly shit talking every step of the way. And it's like, for people that watch basketball games, like when LeBron and Kevin Durant talk down on the All-Star format, when Jeremiah Green shits talk it, or when like the TNT cast, when you hear that, you're like, whatever. I'm gonna watch a game either way, so it's whatever. But casual fans, the NBA All-Star Weekend is for the casual fans that aren't watching the games usually. The Super Bowl was now 2 weeks ago. Now is the time where those fans they were there for opening week. The NFL picks in, so they leave the NBA to go watch the NFL. NFL season's over. Now at the All-Star game, we're coming back to the NBA, and this is the product we're watching. We're not going to keep watching the NBA because every time I turn on my TV, you have all these former players talking about how bad it is now. Why do I want to watch then? Exactly. All the players talk about how bad it is. It's like these former players, these current players are doing a really, really, and then obviously like I said, the TNT and some of the other broadcasting teams are like shedding such a negative light on everything that like it's driving away new fans from coming in.
100%, and like you're saying, I get tired of people that like I get tired of people that are playing in the games or have played in the games say about how bad it is. When like, dude, you could have played harder, you could have done this, you could have done that to try and make it better, but you didn't. So that you're just being a hypocrite now, saying about, oh well, you know, the game isn't what it used to be, X, Y, and Z. Like, LeBron has been in the All-Star game how many times now? I understand
21, 22.
Exactly. I can understand it gets a little annoying when you do it every single year, but it's kind of just like, don't be mad about the All-Star game being not that good when you're either not participating in it or just not, you know, only playing
not giving
offense.
your full effort.
Yeah, only playing offense. It's just like, what are we doing here? Or like when Draymond was, you know, basically shit-talking the Rising Stars and saying how they shouldn't be there when, like I said, they scored the most points against Team Shaq. They scored the most points on as a losing team. They wanted to be there. They wanted to win. It just that skill level between the OGs and the Rising Stars. But the Rising Stars show heart. That's a lot more than I can say for any of the other three teams.
Yeah, because like you said, if people like us, and I'm sure if you're watching this podcast or watch any of our like my channel, like if you're watching these basketball games, what LeBron, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Shaq, and all that, what these guys are saying about this game, it's you might agree with it, you might disagree with it, but you're not going to take it as gospel. You're going to be like, okay, I see what you're saying, but I'm still going to watch this because I have my own opinions on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, if you're a guy that's like, it's like, oh yeah, I tune into the NBA every once in a while, but now I'm hearing these legends saying it's bad, so I'm going to think it's bad because why would I not listen to Shaq? Why would I not listen to LeBron James, Kevin Durant? Like, why would I not listen to them if I don't know any better? So I'm just going to automatically take what they're saying as gospel of like, oh, they're saying it's bad. Where it's like, objectively, it wasn't very good. Like, I'm not saying they're wrong on it, but it's like they're taking their opinions from these players and they're like, oh, okay, they're saying it, so it must be true. Instead of sitting down and watching it, and you're still probably going to come to the same conclusion. Like, okay, yeah, it is actually bad. But like, at least that way, you're watching and you can be like, you know what? Yes, it was bad, but I liked this part of it, or I liked this part of it. So instead of me getting on Twitter and being like, All-Star Weekend sucked, I can get on Twitter and be like, the games weren't very fun, but damn, the dunk contest was a lot of fun, the three-point contest was a lot of fun, and there was even some parts in the All-Star game that was kind of enjoyable. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can at least walk out of there with something and be like, okay, I actually enjoyed something about this.
Yeah, 100%. And that's also, I think, like, we're getting a little deep here, but I think society at this point is kind of like, I shouldn't say like brainwashed.
Here we go.
Kind of just like everyone just looks at social media and everyone just looks at players or influencers and just be like, okay, I like this person. Whatever they think and whatever they say is how I'm going to live my life. You know what I mean? People need to just have their own opinion on stuff and not follow people. Be like, hey, you know, like the All-Star Weekend, this and this was trash, but hey, I actually kind of liked this. It may be an unpopular opinion, but I think this was kind of, you know, cool. You know what I mean? Like, kind of, like, you could be in the mindset where it's like, oh, that Rising Star game against the OGs, that was actually kind of cool because the Rising Stars wanted to be there. It was kind of like a new school versus, you know, an older type of the NBA. You know, it was kind of fun to watch when most people are probably going to be like, man, that was trash. You know what I mean? Like, finding your own voice is what I'm trying to say.
No, 100%. I'm looking at it right here. The NBA All-Star Game was the second least watched on record. Okay, so there's people were not tuning in, but everybody on Twitter had something to say about it.
Yep.
Objectively, most of you guys were not even watching the game. So why are you on Twitter talking about the game and how bad it was or whatever? You weren't watching the game. It's you saw my favorite. I saw my favorite content creator say it was bad. So I'm just gonna say it was bad. Like, and that's why a lot of my opinions on basketball are a mixture. I'm very open about that on my channel. It's like, you know what, I don't have the opportunity and the ability to watch every single team every single night. It's just not possible. We both still work full-time jobs. Like, this is not something we do as a job yet. This is just, we're just trying to grow our brand. So I pick a couple teams each night. It's like, okay, I'm going to watch these couple games each night. Especially once you get later in the season like this, I can cut off like half the NBA. Like half the teams, like the Jazz, the Wizards, the Hornets, I'm not watching them anymore because they don't matter at this point in time. You know what I mean? But I'm still watching the good teams, trying to figure out who's going to be. But I can only watch so much. So I watch the teams I can. And then I also go listen to podcasts. I listen to like 4 different NBA podcasts. I watch videos. So it's like I get to make sure if I watch the game and then I compare what I think versus what a Kenny or like an Isaac on the deep three, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I take what I know and I compare. I listen to what they say, and I'm like, okay, I think this, they think this. Let me go watch this, and maybe now I actually agree with them more now that I'm watching it. You know what I mean? Like, I like to take my opinion based off of multiple things. I don't just like get on Twitter and type in. I don't go Paulo Banchero on Twitter. Okay, he's bad now. Okay, yes, I'm just gonna start saying that. I'm gonna look and say, you know what? Paulo Banchero has a lot of holes in his game, who has a really, really athletic upside, and you're going to start basing your opinions off of that. You know, it's just like you were saying, the whole internet society is just like, I see something, I regurgitate it. Do I fact check it? Nope. Somebody I like said something. It would be like you saying, you would say, oh, this 5-star recruit in college football is actually not very good because you watched him play. Like you spent the time watching his high school tape, and I heard you say that and go, got it. He's trash. I never watched a second of this tape, but you said it, so I'm just gonna believe what you say. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. It makes no sense to do that.
Yeah, no, not 100%, and that's where I think we're on a downhill. And I also think that the All-Star weekend, with how they're trying to revamp it and trying to redo it, I think is partly the fans' fault because, let's be honest, in this society, pardon my French here, but we love to bitch and complain about everything. We could have had some. I'm not saying we had something good with the All-Star weekend, but it gets to a certain.
Goddamn.
But but it just gets to a certain point where we just gotta like step back and be like, okay, what is actually good? What is actually not good? And not just sit here, on Twitter and be like, X, Y, and Z. This is trash. This is trash. This is trash. Why can't they come up with something original? When maybe it's just you got to take a step back and be like, okay. Let me see this from, Adam Silver's side. Let me see this from the player's side. Let me try and get multiple sides here and then make a base analysis or a base opinion on what I'm watching instead of just being like, oh, this is garbage. This is trash. And I don't like this. They got to come up with something new. They're trying something new. Oh, I don't like that either. I'm getting tired. I'm just getting tired of everybody complaining about everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Man, we just ranted about that for an hour. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get up out of here today?
Shout out Team USA in the 4-nation face-off for the NHL. For those of you that did see on Saturday, the USA beat Canada 3-1. The USA and Canada will be playing as you're watching this tonight. So I'm going to be watching that. It should be quite fun. As a lot of you know, there was 3 fights in the first 9 seconds of the match on Saturday. USA ended up winning, scoring 3 straight goals, unanswered goals at that to win 3-1. I think the NHL kind of hit the nail on the head with this one. I really do think so. I think there's going to be a lot more people tuning in to watch it. I mean, Finland and Switzerland went into OT. The U.S. dominated Finland, and now we're setting up for on Thursday. Like I said, the USA versus Canada. It seems like the money line and everything is on Canada right now to win. But hey, it should be. It seems like it's. Yeah. No, the spread is actually favoring the USA. My bad.
Okay.
The spread is favoring the USA by basically 1.5 goals. So it should be a good game. Hopefully, people tune in and watch it. And I'm hoping it's going to be another great matchup on the ice.
Hell yeah! Shout out Team USA, go America, I guess.
Go America.
Well, I guess that's gonna do it for another episode of Time Out with J&G. And after the past month we missed 2 episodes, we're hoping to be back. Getting back consistent again every week, getting content out to you guys. Now that the All-Star break's over, it's about 30-ish, 28 to 30-ish more games of basketball, and then into the playoffs. And then, we'll go from there, right?
Right. Hold on.
Any last remarks? My bad.
Off the top of your head, I want you to give me who you think your playoff riser is going to be. So basically the team that may be
teams or players?
Teams. Could be a team that could be like a 6, 7, or 8 seed, but by the end of it, they could be up at a team like a 7 or 8 could be, like a 4 or 5. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you mean in the regular season?
Yeah, a team that in the regular season by the time we start playoffs is out of the play-in and securely in the playoffs. A team that's going to make that jump up.
Okay. Ooh. Looking at the Eastern Conference, the play-in right now is the Magic, Hawks, Heat, and Bulls. Oof. Not loving any of those. Western Conference, it is the Timberwolves, Mavericks, Kings, and Warriors. Not loving any of those either. Oh, boy. Maybe with the Mavericks injuries, I see them falling. The Kings, I just don't know how good they are. The Warriors got Jimmy Butler, man. It might have to be the Warriors if I have to give you a team who just maybe I don't think they get out of the play-in. I don't think they're better. I don't think they get in top 6. I just don't. But I think they could go from 10 to 7, 8, where they only have to play 1 play-in game instead of 2. I just don't see. I don't know. I just don't see a lot. I think the teams are kind of set pretty much where they are. I mean, maybe the Bucks overtake the Pacers game, but they're 4-5 with only a game between them. You know what I mean? It's not like it's.
I was gonna say, do you think Detroit could go on a crazy run and get the 4 seed, or possibly they're not getting the 3 seed, but possibly jump up and get the 4 seed?
I don't think so. I just think the Bucks and the Pacers are just better teams than them. Obviously, the Bucks have been missing Giannis for a little bit, so hopefully when Giannis comes back healthy, they're kind of ready to get back into it. The Pistons have been a really fun team this year, and I think they're going to be good in the next couple of years. But I just don't know if they have. They're just not. I just don't think they're as good as the Pacers and the Bucks. If I'm being honest, they don't have that. As good as Cade Cunningham is, they don't have a Giannis on their team. They don't have a Tyrese Halliburton, who hasn't been as great this year. Cade Cunningham's arguably been better than him, or I wouldn't even say arguably been better. But they also have a Pascal Siakam on that Indiana team. So it's I just think. I don't know. I just think the teams above them. I think the 5 teams above the Pistons right now are pretty set. I think that is the top 5 of the East. I mean, the only really difference I see is the Bucks and the Pacers maybe split spots, but I think that top 3 is set how it is. I really, really do.
Okay.
Western Conference. I made a video with the Nuggets. They've been the best team in the league since the start of the calendar year. They're all the way up to the 3 seed. I remember when the season started, they were not good. And the Rockets have been struggling as of recently. I could see the Lakers are only half a game behind the Rockets for the 4 seed. The Lakers could jump into it and have home court advantage in the first round of playoffs. Maybe the Nuggets take over the Grizzlies too, because the Grizzlies have been they've had a lot of injuries, still trying to figure stuff out. And I just don't think the Grizzlies are. I don't want to say they're not a good team because they're the fucking 2 seed in the Western Conference. You know what I mean? But I think this Grizzlies team is just kind of missing something. I think what they're missing is a full version of Ja Morant. They just haven't got the Ja Morant that they need on the team. Like I said, I think Jaren Jackson's just been a better player than him this season. And I think if you get that All-NBA level of Ja Morant, which we know he can do, this Grizzlies team is solidified. But they just aren't getting that. And it's at the point where it's Jokic is still the best player in the world, in my opinion. And they're a half a game behind the Grizzlies for the 2 seed. Jokic is very quickly gaining a lot of ground on the rest of the NBA and the Western Conference. And I would not be surprised if the Nuggets are the 2 seed at the end of the year. I mean, if I'm being honest, the Lakers are only 3 games behind the Grizzlies. That's 3 games is a bit of games to catch up in 20. So I'm not going to say that the Lakers can jump them, but I think the Nuggets going to be the 2 seed. I think the Lakers can overtake the Rockets as a 4 seed.
I mean, that's very plausible. I was going to say, do you think the Lakers, if they catch a hot streak, do you think they could make it up to like the 3 seed by the end of it?
I just, at that point in time, you would have to be over the Nuggets or the Grizzlies. And
you don't see either one.
Like I said, the Nuggets have literally been the best team in the league since the beginning of the year. So I don't think they're that. Again, like I said, I think they're going to jump the Rockets because the Rockets have just been struggling the past, like they're 3-7 in the last 10. They've been struggling. But it's just about the Grizzlies, man. Can they maintain? Do we see a better version of John Moran after the All-Star break? I don't know. It just really depends on what the Grizzlies give.
And my other question is,
okay.
Do you think that Boston can catch the Cavs?
No.
No, you think the Cavs are going to be the 1 seed?
I don't even think the Celtics care to catch the Cavs. Honestly,
that is true. Yeah.
The Celtics have been how do I want to say this? They're a good team. Obviously, they're a very good team. They're still a top 3 team in the NBA, in my opinion. Maybe 4 now that the Nuggets have been so good recently. But they've also, they win games, but they've been playing bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like when I watch the Celtics this year, there's a lot more moments this year where I'm like, ooh, okay. But they still win the game. So it's like, oh, okay, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this team definitely doesn't look as good as it did last year, but they don't look bad enough that I'm worried about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Like, there's definitely a lot that's going to ride on Porzingis. How good can Porzingis be? Because I think I like you know what you're getting out of Tatum. Brown hasn't been as good this year either. I don't know if you have any cause for concern on that one. Holiday definitely has taken a step back with his age, but not bad. Derek White's also taken a step back defensively this year. I think. I don't think this year's version of Derek White is as good a defender as last year. But you watch him every game, so I would trust your opinion on it more.
I just think that this whole team is just suffering from the championship high.
That's fair.
Because they just won the championship. Let's be honest. This is probably the easiest path to a championship we've seen in a while. The Pacers series was tough. I'm not gonna say they just beat the crap out of everybody because there was some tough games. But I think that they're just still on this championship high. That they're kind of still riding. The championship. I do think in this second half of the year they're gonna kick it into gear because it's okay, we only have 30 more games, 30 or so more games until it's time, playoff time comes. But it's kind of just they're gonna start kicking it into gear, and you're gonna start seeing the actual championship Celtics that we seen in the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
actually start kicking in. I think it was just that beginning phase that they were kind of just man, we're the champs, And Porzingis was out for a little bit, so it was kind of this iffy scenario to where it's just okay, well, we're not at full health. Let's just, and I also think it's kind of one of the things where let's just try and get by. Let's just try and get by, maybe get a top 3 seed, top 2 seed. Let's just get by come playoff time, everyone fully healthy, and then let's go chase another banner.
Yeah, no, they're objectively such a good team that a step back still has them as the 2 seed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's they've definitely taken maybe a half step back. I wouldn't say a step back, but they've taken maybe a half step back this season. But they're still they're still one of the best teams in the league. It's just last year I think they were the clear-cut dominant team in the NBA, and they're definitely not that this season. But it's they're the 2 seed. You know what I mean? They're still winning games. They're still doing what they do. And like I said, that's with I think. The only player this season that didn't take a step of regression is Jason Tatum. I think the rest of the roster is having a step back season compared to last year. I just think everybody else had a hell of a season last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's still good enough that you're this even Jason Tatum's had a couple stretches this season where you're oof, maybe not the greatest, but I don't know. I think the only person I would be worried about in this team is what do you do with Derek White? Because again, I just don't think his defense. I don't want to say his defense has been bad this year because he's not been a bad defender. But he definitely, when he got to Boston, was supposed to be this he really paved his way as this really hard nosed, gritty defender, and I just haven't seen that much this year. So I don't know.
I also think with not Joe Mazzulla's offensive, basically run and gun type system to where we're shooting threes all the time. He's not really a defensive coach like we've seen with Ime Udoka. You know what I mean? Like the defense is, I shouldn't say left the window, but it's like they're not real focused on defense. They're more focused on, shooting threes, which when you live and die by the three ball, you're bound to get burnt.
Yes, that's one thing about the Celtics is just like they shoot the hell out of the three ball. And if that's not hitting, you're probably going to end up losing the game.
Trust me, I get annoyed by it very easily. When you shoot like 10 threes, you miss all 10. It's kind of just like, come on. Tatum is like 6'9", and he can be a physical player. We have Porzingis that can get a mismatch and post up. We have Jaylen Brown who's an adept finisher at the rim. Like, we have these pieces that can score at the rim, but it's just like, oh, sidestep three, corner three. It's just like...
I have it pulled up here. Right now, they're 4th in offense and 5th in defense. Like, they're still a top 5 team in both. Like, they're still getting it done. If we look at... I don't know. We'll look at January here. January offense, they were... 13th in offense in January, where they went 10-6 in the month of January. Defensive rating, still 5th. They kept their defense. Their offense just took a bit of a dive. Well, let's look at February now. In the month of February, they're 5-1 at the moment, and their offense is rated, where are we at here? Number 7, and their defense is rated number 5. So they've pretty much been the 5th best defense the entire season. Like, it's just what it is. Yeah. So their defense, like, but then again, I said in my video, the Brooklyn Nets are the best defense in the month of February at 105.2. So you gotta have to just take that as what it is. The Brooklyn Nets were 5-1 so far this month. So you kind of just have to. But the other teams up there are the Thunder, the Cavs, the Pistons. So it's like these are good defensive teams that are up there. So it makes sense. It's just oh man, real quick while we're here, I wanna let's go here real quick. All season, there's just one more thing I just want to hit on real quick. The Orlando Magic have the 29th best offense in the league and the 3rd best defense.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah,
them boys know how to play some defense, but on offense, whew.
Yeah, what was the other one I wanted to look at? I don't even know if I could. Magic 3. Okay, so I did this in a video a couple weeks ago, but I just want to kind of bring it up. The Orlando Magic are shooting 30.6% as a team from 3 this year. That is really, really bad. That is actually. Hold on. Can I pull this up? Sorry, I'm getting notifications from Twitter from.
I think Javonte Green got bought out and he's planning on signing with the Cavs.
Good for him.
Also, while we're here, shout out to Unk. Shout out to Jeff Green. He's still in the league. He's still doing his thing on the Rockets right now. Shout out to him.
Hell yeah.
38 years old, just hanging around, being that wily vet that you need on the team. Keep the young guys in check. Shout out to Unk.
Shout out to Unk for real.
Hell yeah.
Okay, 3-point percentage. Number 1 is the Cavs at 39.3%.
Okay.
Number 30 is the Magic at 30.6%. That's 9% worse as a team. Right? You want to know what team's 29th? So the second worst team?
The Wizards?
The Wizards. At 33.4%. They are a whole 3% better from 3 than the Orlando Magic are.
That's kind of embarrassing.
They make the least amount of 3-pointers in the entire NBA. They make an average 11.1 a game. Only the Raptors are close at 11.4. So they don't even make a lot. They don't even take the least. They actually take, where are they at here? They're middle of the pack in attempts. They just cannot hit them. They can't hit them.
My Lord.
I don't know. That's just a little tangent on the Magic. I think it's time for us to wrap up. It's been about an hour, 10 minutes now, so we give you guys a good episode. We appreciate you guys watching this episode of Time Out with J&G, and we will see you guys next week. Peace. Oh, good.